Every week, people are cooking with us and improving their skills and confidence in the kitchen.
Hey, everybody. I don't know, a little Muppet boy decided to give a cameo. Hey, but I am not the Muppet boy. I'm Chef Marshall. Super happy to have you here. This is Cooking with Confidence. How are you all doing tonight? I'm so excited to be cooking with you in the kitchen and you cooking with me tonight in the kitchen. Before we get into tonight's recipe, make sure to follow us on Facebook if you're not already. Like us, click on it, okay? Chef Marshall O'Brien. And on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien as well. We put this show together. 3 things. Number 1, to help you build skills and confidence in the kitchen so you can make great, tasty, nourishing meals. Second point is to help you take more control of your meal planning and get stress out of your life. And third point is to teach you how to nourish you and your family, not just feed you and your family. So I am just thrilled to be here. We are coming to the end of our pilot episodes, but we're going to be doing more, and that is awesome news because so many people are saying, hey, we love the show, love cooking with you, love learning. It's a great time. My kids are having fun, and that's exactly why we put the show together. Now, today's recipe, we have a turmeric chicken with butternut squash. It is very, very delicious, okay? This recipe is going to include the following ingredients. As you can see, folks, we got chicken, butternut squash, some parsley, Parmesan cheese, turmeric, paprika, however you like to say it, okay? Some salt, olive oil, some garlic, and onions. Before we get started, I already said that a couple times. Before we get into the recipe, do you have your ingredients? Are you watching saying, hey, I want to participate? Well, that is how this show works. Is you sign up, doesn't cost you anything, it's for free. Sign up, and then you get recipes, shopping lists in advance. Then you can cook up a lot of fun with us. And in real time, you can prepare this. And that's the whole point of the show, is to help you in the kitchen. Well, we got an awesome recipe, so let's dig right in. First things first we're going to do, folks. Oh, I got to thank you for reminding me. My right-hand gal, Jonna, sorry, got to drop that too. How are you doing tonight?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Excellent, excellent. So my right-hand gal, Jonna, is also my life partner extraordinaire. She helps running the comments and adds her fun flair into this. And then we also got an awesome team, Alex, Gabriel, Liz back there that are helping us deliver this super fun and helpful show for you. And big thanks to all of them. Well, we're going to get going on making this turmeric chicken. Do you have your recipe? You have your ingredients. Do you have your pan and your lid? Do you have your knife and cutting board? Make sure that you are organized and prepared. The more organized and prepared you are, the easier it will be to make your meals. That's, especially, it's one thing if you're well versed in the kitchen and you've been cooking a long time and you feel really confident. If it's new for you, how many of you, is it your first time watching? Let me know in the comments, okay? First time, how about if you're cooking in real time with me, if it's your first time, let me know in the comments. But I want you to be comfortable. So having your stuff, we're gonna get things rolling here. Because I'm in my studio space, and just to make it easy, I have gloves, and I'm going to switch out my knife and cutting board when I'm cutting up my chicken. Best practices to be safe is to have a dedicated cutting board for preparing raw meats and seafood. It's really important, and that way you ensure you won't risk creating cross-contamination. Anybody know what cross-contamination means? It's kind of a technical term, but I already gave it away. I know a lot of you watching are pretty dialed in, and you've heard me talk about this stuff. So I want you to be safe in the kitchen. I want you to have fun in the kitchen. So make sure that you have the right type of tools and all that set up. And having a separate cutting board is one of those easy ways to do it. So we're cutting up our chicken. I want you to step back for a second. You don't have to literally step back, but metaphorically speaking, step back. And just think about, as you are preparing your meals, if I'm cutting up chicken as I am right now, right? What else could you be using that chicken for? So maybe you have a little bit extra. I always want people to think through if they're going to make chili, because now we're getting into, we're in the winter season here in the good old Midwest. Hearty meals, what are some other vegetables that you might prep up? Are you going to chop up some more chicken, or whatever the case is? What can you do in advance just to make things a little easier when you're preparing your other meals? This would be one of those things. Comments, thoughts? What else we got going on? Yeah.
Cindy says hi, and she
Hello.
says, please do more. Love this, being here every week. Thanks, Cindy.
That's the whole reason we're here, for you and everybody. Yep, my pleasure. Knife, cut up our chicken. We got our pan heating up now. I'm going to cut up our, just a second. I'm going to throw our olive oil. If you want to use butter or any other type of fat, that's fine. But I add that to our pan. And you want to make sure when you add the food to your pan, what are we looking for? Who remembers? Say it really fast so I don't lose folks because they're going, what's this guy talking about? The sizzle. We want the sizzle. And you can also tell that your pan is ready when the fat shimmers. See how there's like a little shimmery action? Boy, isn't it fun having multiple angles like that? That little shimmer action there, you can tell that your fat's ready to start having fun with the food in the pan. That's the whole deal, as I'm trying to say. So we're ready to go. We're going to add our chicken to our pan. Scraping the back of the knife. Turn the heat up. I was waiting for that sizzle. I got tricked, but it was shimmering, and that is a good thing. So we're going to add our chicken in there. We're starting to sizzle. That's a good thing. I'm going to just put this over here, and I am going to continue on. We're going to chop up. We're going to cut up our onions. When I do my recipes, one of the things is I want to get all the barriers out of the way. So if you have a certain way you like to cut up your onions, cut them up that way. It's all right. If you want to slice them, if you want to dice them, if you want to follow exactly the way that I said to do it, like with this recipe, I talk about chopping it, go for it, chop it up. But you can really kind of take care of any way you want. One thing that's nice about this is you could have your onions already cut up, then just pull them on out. However, then you won't be getting your cooking and knife skills in during the show, and that's a big thing why we're doing this, is I really want you to get comfortable setting yourself up for success in the kitchen. I want you to get comfortable with those skills. When you're using your knife, always remember, let the knife do the work. So you can see how I let my knuckles guide my knife, and I'll show you a little more here. But I'm first going to peel some of this extra. Now, question for you. Can you do anything with this thin, papery onions layer stuff? Anybody? What can you do with that? Anybody? I know someone's got an idea. I've got an idea here. I don't know what that, someone was just gesturing me to do something. Ah, yes, okay. Well, where I was going with that. Ah, Rosie made it. Way to go. Rosie, you're awesome. Love it. Well, what you can do with that papery stuff and with the stump of the stub of the onions is you can collect those along with other mild tasting vegetables, and then you can use that to make vegetable stock or any kind of stock that you want. So a lot of this stuff you can use anytime, and use in a variety of ways. Keep that in mind. Letting the knife do the work. Let my knuckles guide my knife, just like that. Right? Looks great. We're going to chop up, just do a little simple chop here. Questions, comments? Yep, Rosie is my mom. Made an announcement. It's official. There we go. It was kind of fun saying Rosie, but now it's Mom. All right, Mom. Thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry you missed your card game and you came to be with us instead. That's very cool. All right, let's get our onions in the pan. We got some sizzle going. We got chicken going. We got onions. Questions, comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Dominic, tried to make without the chicken, missing the flavor, so realized I should have added a stock or bouillon of some type to get that flavoring into the squash.
Is that a comment or a question?
I think he's just telling us what he
did.
What he didn't cook with the chicken.
You know what? Maybe what you do, and instead of doing with the, like, obviously minus the chicken there, I love garbanzo beans. And if you like garbanzo beans, Dominic, I would just do an equal substitution. Go cup and a half of garbanzo beans in there, maybe even 2 cups. Okay, start with that, and then I would add add a little bit, some bay leaf. You probably are growing bay leaves. You are a master gardener, not to like put you out there or anything, Dominic, but you probably have got some awesome herbs that you're growing, including bay leaf or some thyme. And you could start that so you can get that, because you talk about the flavor, and I know chicken doesn't taste like thyme or bay leaf, but that would add a nice element. And then one of the things, folks, which reminds me, is I want you to try to expand, follow these recipes, use them, enjoy them, and then from there you can evolve it and roll with it and make it more and do more with it, and that's the whole point. So appreciate you bringing that up, Dominic. The bouillon thing would go well. I would recommend that you collect the scraps of mild-tasting vegetables, as I was saying before, and put those, make a vegetable stock. That would make it really, really tasty. We're going to continue to let the onions and I got some funky garlic there. Didn't notice that. All right.
Thanks for seeing that.
What's that?
Thanks for seeing that.
Yep. I saw it. Glad you saw it too. You were ready to let me know that you saw it. Appreciate that.
I was watching.
We wanna work on the butternut squash. Sometimes people get a little intimidated by these winter squashes. They're kind of heavy, they're dense, but you know what? If you get a little practice, they're actually really easy to work with. I will give you a secret. There's nothing wrong with buying it already peeled and chopped and in the freezer ready to go. I think that is just fine. But we want to practice, so that's why I chose to have this to do and show you. That's important.
Well, Amy used pre-cut butternut squash.
Yeah, good.
She says, I value my fingers. Squash can be hard to cut.
Smart lady. And I value my fingers too, but I also got to show you how to do this with confidence and improve your skills as time goes on. So I get that. Have a good sturdy peeler. A couple episodes ago we were talking about veggie peelers. Just make sure you have a strong peeler. You can definitely peel this with your knife. However, you are going to have a lot of butternut squash waste. And we don't want that. I want to minimize waste. Minimize waste and maximize the food that you are, that you're cooking, because you're paying for it. It's good.
Dominic is saying seeds are tasty roasted too after, and we
yes,
agree.
they
We love
are.
them.
Man, great minds taste alike, and I totally agree with you on that. We'll get to that, actually. We'll get to that. I'm going to now first cut. Here's where some of the technique, especially with like a hard vegetable like this. I'm going to cut a plank, if you will. Okay? And then I can put it flat on the base, and now it will be stable and it will be safe. And that's really what we want to go with, is having a stable and safe environment so you can continue to cut with confidence and certainty. You'll notice that I have my hand choked up on the knife here, just so I have a good grip on it. These, vegetables like these winter squashes, like this butternut squash, it can be a little daunting because they're tough, so just take your time with it. That's why I wanted to do this in real time with you, so that you could feel comfortable, and it really is manageable. It's not that hard. I'm getting this ready so that once the onions are just about, tender, then we can add our spices with the garlic and then add in our winter squash. So our steps say do the spices, and the garlic, and then do the winter squash and do the butternut squash. We're gonna do it like that, and in truth, you could do it all at the same time, because the squash takes a little bit of time to cook, about 10 to 12 minutes, assuming you're following the directions there. But you see, you got some nice diced up pieces of squash there. That looks beautiful. I'm going to start with adding my spices now. Other questions, comments, thoughts?
Well, Cheryl has a question. So
Yes,
you boil
and
those to
myself.
make stock? So
What's that? I'm sorry?
She says so you boil those to make stock. So I think that was an early question.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Specifically, I will take onion scraps. That's right. Yeah. No, yep. We take onion scraps, carrots, celery, bell pepper would work. Mild tasting vegetables, and then just store them in an airtight container, and then you can take them out, put them in a pot, in any kind of soup pot, pan, whatever, with some water, and just simmer them, and now you got flavored broth. Easy. Got the paprika. We're going to have the turmeric.
And washing them is important.
and washing them is important. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, because you boil the
Oh, you're
skin,
talking,
the-
yeah, it's always, oh, sorry. Always best practice is wash your produce before you use it just to minimize any potential bacteria and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, just, it never hurts to be over, just be smart and take care of yourself. Absolutely. I agree with that. How many of you like to cook with turmeric? Turmeric is one of those herbs spices that, I think my 6-year-old said, it tastes like dirt. Well, it does have that earthy aroma, and there are certain herbs and spices that have a little bit earthy aroma. What I like about the turmeric is it has that vibrant color. It has that nice rounded flavor, and it really makes your food pop. And that's something I want you to be thinking about. As you continue to make great tasting dishes for yourself, are you using herbs and spices? Are you incorporating them into your dish because they make your food taste great, they make your food smell great? And I'm going to get to another benefit here in just a second. But let's add in our garlic then, and we'll start adding in the squash. Boy, that looks awesome. Questions, comments, thoughts? The third benefit that I like about using herbs and spices is that they have medicinal benefits. A lot of people don't realize that. But let's say you suffer from chronic headaches. Maybe you have digestive issues. You get an upset tummy a lot. Well, there's herbs and spices, turmeric being one of them, that can serve as a digestive aid. It can help relax your blood vessels to help reduce headaches, because headaches are a constriction of blood vessels, right? So it can help relax your blood vessels. It can also help reduce inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory food, which is very significant. I'm curious, how many of you wake up stiff and sore in the morning? Or maybe you have aches and pains. Well, food can work for you or it can work against you. So why not have great tasting foods that will work for you? And this is one of those types of dishes. I cut up half of the butternut squash, as you saw, and then the bottom half, to Dominic's point, we got the seeds in there, and so we're going to peel the rest of this guy, and we are going to then finish the job on this, and it's going to be really, really tasty. And I'll have leftover squash, so I might just, what I would do is with my leftover squash, I'd cut it up just like I'm doing here into bite-sized pieces, and then I'll put it in an airtight container and pop it in my freezer. I love doing roasted vegetable soups, like roasted veggie chicken soup, or I even will make like a traditional chili, but then add roasted veggies in there, and it's just a nice way to get a little variety. And if you do it right, it's going to still taste like chili, and everybody's going to love it. So if you have some purists that are like, hey, what's going on with this? They're going to be like, hey, that was pretty awesome. And that's what I want to do. I want you to practice with some of these other intimidating vegetables. I mean, just from just using it, because it can be, this is where you're going to get your skills done. When it gets hard, that's when you get good. Think about it. Think about that. Anytime you deal with something in your life, personally, professionally, whatever it is, when it gets hard, that's when you can get good. And don't back away from it. I invite you to try it, and the more practice, the easier it is. And hopefully, you are doing it, and it looks easy as a result, because it is easy. Well, this is looking good. I'm getting the heat going here. I'm going to cut this in half.
While you're cutting,
Yes.
Sandy says, turmeric is new to me. We'll see how the skeptical husband thinks.
Well, Sandy, I admire your courage and your willingness to try it out, and that's really part of the fun too, is trying new flavors, trying new recipes, because now what's happening is you're kind of expanding you're expanding your palate, and why not? I mean, why wouldn't you do it? So I commend you on that, and thank you for trying it and going out on a limb like that. I think that's awesome. All right, well, we've broken down our butternut squash. This looks great. Got nice festive colors, and it's perfect for the season as well. Gotta love it. We're going to let this continue to cook. I'm actually going to add a little bit of water to it, and then I will put a lid on. And we're going to let it simmer for about 10 to 12 minutes. And depending on how big your pan is and how much stuff you ended up actually cooking, that will dictate the that'll dictate the amount of time that it actually takes. So say that fast 10 times. Let's see how that goes. Beautiful, beautiful,
Okay, Sharon
beautiful.
wants to know, are you cooking over medium or medium-high heat?
Right now, I'm about a medium-high heat. I'm trying to get a simmer going, and then I'll turn it down a little bit, and I'll keep it covered, and we'll let it go from there. Questions, comments, thoughts, folks. What else is on your mind? What else is on your mind? One of the things that you need to keep in mind, if you were cutting up your butternut squash tonight and it was hard, like difficult, is your knife sharp? If your knife is dull, it's going to make this a lot more challenging, and it's also going to put you at risk for cutting yourself. When we push down really hard and there's a lot of resistance, it's easy to slip. And I don't want that to happen to you. So make sure that your knife is sharp, and it'll be a lot easier to cut this up as a result. And my knife's pretty sharp, so it's pretty easy to do. But I'm going to put the rest of these, as I was saying, into the freezer, and then I can have this to make this dish again for a later time.
Dominic is
Yes.
saying, I keep adding scraps to a freezer bag in the deep freeze, squeeze the air out, boil when it is full, and
Nice.
strain
That's exactly, yeah.
for
Awesome.
stock.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Love it. That's exactly right. All right, this is looking awesome. We're going to let this continue. I'm going to chop up some parsley, and we'll add that shortly. Not quite yet, but shortly we're going to add it.
Amanda has a question. Should
Yes,
I let
Amanda, question.
Should I let it cook longer if I put in my whole squash?
Meaning, what you're saying is if you have more than 3 cups, is that what you're saying, Amanda? Should you be adding, should you have it cook longer because you're adding more food to your pan? Is that what you're saying? I believe that's probably what you're saying. Pretty certain on that. The answer would be most likely yes. If you have a really big, pan and you're doing this and you've got a lot of room, there'll be more heat circulating and it might take the same time. But like I've got a pretty full pan, as you can see here. So I'm going to probably end up cooking it for about the correct time, but you might have to do it a little longer, yes.
She says yes.
All right. We're thinking on the same wavelength.
Sandy says it's really pretty when it's cooking.
It is beautiful. I appreciate you bringing that up, Sandy, because one of the things about cooking is you can make it this fun sensory experience, and for some people it's like, I just want to get a meal on the table, and I get that. Well, when you make it a sensory experience, you have that awareness. You're going to be just more engaged with what you're doing, and it's going to, and especially when you enjoy it, and then you see those in your life enjoying it, and it's going to make you more curious. And the more curious you are, the more you're going to be willing to try and try and try. And that's really what I want you to be thinking about. Every episode, we're going to give you a recipe that makes things simple for you. We're going to focus on, we're doing, obviously, I got this nice presentation here, but we're not doing a lot of dishes. It's not making a big mess unless you're kind of like me and you're chopping things up everywhere. But the point is making it simple for you. And the more simple it is, then the more likelihood you are going to participate and do it and take care of yourself. Because I want to empower you in your kitchen and in your life so that you can make the changes that you want in your kitchen and in your life. So that's why we're doing this. And this is looking awesome.
Okay, let's see. We have a couple more.
Go ahead. I'll let you.
Go.
Yeah.
Cheryl wants to know, what kind of pen are you using?
I have here, originally, Cheryl, I was going to be using and I'm making a point here, but originally I was going to go with this 13-inch. Sorry, I want to actually first start with. I was going to originally go with this 13-inch. This is a they call it a tri-ply, meaning you have stainless steel, aluminum, and stainless steel. So there's 3 different layers of metals in there. And I was going to go with this big pan. And then I thought, well, I might go with this guy. And then I remembered Jonna, my right-hand gal, saying, well, you're probably going to have too much food, and I have a tendency to overcrowd my pans. Hey, progress over perfection, ladies and gentlemen, all right?
And then you decide on that.
Yes, so then I decided to go with this pan, which is it's a non-stick, but it's not a conventional non-stick. It's an anodized non-stick pan, and I like using it because, A, I can get high temperatures on it, and I get it cooks my food really nice. It's hearty. It doesn't have any hot spots on it. Particular brand, I happen to have a Calphalon pan here. Those are Calphalon as well. It's a great product. Really like it. I think I've been cooking with them for years now. But you will enjoy it as well. You also will enjoy, if you have enough sizzle and steam going, you can get a nice, what do you call that treatment when you have like the steam in your face? It's really nice. Facial? I'm getting a facial right now from the steam. I don't know, it's kind of, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
Well, all right, never mind. But
Spa?
a spa, I'm having a little mini spa treatment right now. One thing I want you to be thinking about, folks, as the butternut squash cooks, it's going to get a little granular. It'll break down a little bit. It holds its shape pretty good. If you use frozen squash, that'll break down quicker. So just something to keep in mind. But this just looks dynamite, and it's just about done. I'm gonna test one of these pieces. It's really good to test as you go. Taste and test. Yep, we're getting tender there. You can see that right there. So we're probably 3 to 4 minutes out from that being done. The spices are getting nice and just really nice and blended in with the chicken and the butternut squash. For those of you that are vegetarian, using some kind of maybe a cannellini bean or a garbanzo bean, I would go with light colored beans. I think black beans would just make the dish, it wouldn't look as appealing. So kidney beans would be really nice. You don't have to put beans in there if you don't want to, but you can certainly jazz it up. Go tofu route if you want. But boy, this looks really good. Other questions, comments?
Sharon wants to know, are all these recipes in your current cookbook? When is your next cookbook due out?
Well, no pressure, Sharon. All right. Well, this recipe, we have recipes like this in our cookbook, so you can definitely get the Chef Marshall's cookbook, my cookbook, Chef Marshall, me, at our website, chefmarshallobrien.com. It's an awesome book, and let me tell you why. We have over 70 recipes in there: breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, Instant Pot, multi-cooker, slow cooker, dressings, dips. And we teach you also not just all those recipes, but how to set you up for success in the kitchen, what kind of equipment to have, condiments to have, utensils to have, all that. And then we teach you how to meal plan. So it's an invaluable source. For those of you that are getting your skills down and you're feeling good, you should get the book right now. Also, if you've got kids in college and you want to help them take control of their life with eating the right foods and being able to cook with confidence, that book will be great. As far as a new cookbook coming out, we've got a lot of projects in the works, and hopefully a cookbook will be one of those things that we can get out sooner than later. But right now, we have what we have. We're always adding recipes onto our website. Go to chefmarshallobrien.com. A lot of recipes for you, a lot of resources. Love for you to have it. I'm going to turn this down a little bit now because we're on the tail end. Questions, comments, thoughts? Let's share something else. Yeah.
Yep. Coming. Cindy. Oh.
I was going to tell you, real quick about the spices, and then I'll let.
Well, this also relates to spices.
Go
Do you
for it.
have one for of your books which spices help you with joint pain and other benefits?
If you go onto our website and you search inflammation, we have write-ups on spices that can help reduce inflammation. We talk about spice blends that you can make for yourself that not only taste great, but will give you that. So definitely check that out. We have our spice book for school. We did our spice books for schools a few years ago now, and that was to help schools spice up, season up, flavor up their recipes, and it has over 24 blends. It's great. It's just all about flavor and stuff. If you're interested in that, you can get it on our website as well. The quantities are going to be like 1 cup, 2 cup quantities, so you just need to reduce it, cut it in half, that sort of thing. But definitely, we have resources that you can access to learn how to use those spices and specifically which ones to help from inflammatory standpoint. Appreciate you asking that. Cheryl, Cheryl,
Sure.
That's awesome.
Cheryl says, I print off recipes on your website too and put them in a 3-ring binder.
That is awesome, Cheryl. I appreciate that. Well, these are recipes that you can do as well. Tonight's recipe, easy to make. You can switch out ingredients like that. And at the end of the day, I want to get all the barriers out of the way for you. I want you to have great tasting food that works for you. I want you to have great tasting food that your family, that those you're cooking for, that you're around, that they enjoy, because when they enjoy it, then it's going to get you excited, and it's going to reinforce the work and the effort you're doing to take care of you and or your family. And that's really significant. There's got to be a benefit there, and having people like it is a huge benefit. Now we're going to add a little bit of some parsley, and we're going to add some Parmesan cheese, and then we're going to turn off the heat. You could see that the butternut squash is getting a little lighter in color around the edges because it's getting more cooked, and in the middle as it continues to cook through. Depending on how you like the texture of the squash, I don't want it to fall apart there, and so I don't want to. You can always cook it more, but if you cook too far and it's mushy, if you don't want it that way, obviously lighten up a little bit on your cooking time. But this just looks absolutely tasty. Like I said, cook it a bit longer if you wish. We're going to add our Parmesan cheese onto that. That looks just dynamite. Going to mix that up. Oh, every week, every episode, we want to acknowledge all the great work that folks have been doing, that have been contributing, doing recipes, and submitting their comments and submitting their pictures. So I want to show you some of last week's. We've got Sharon that says, "Oh, it turned out so good. Thank you, Chef Marshall. By the way, we did a turkey bolognese pasta, and it was dynamite. You can watch that episode if you want." Sharon number 2 says, "Another great recipe. Thank you." And that was a beautiful looking dish, Sharon. Well done. That was awesome. Amanda writes in, had a very fun, easy following along. She ordered everything the night before and picked it up from the grocery store. Now she has lots of yummy leftovers. Hope you can do more of these videos. Absolutely, Amanda. We are going to keep going. And I'll talk more about that in just a second. And then we have Cindy, who posted picture of last week's show. They ended up using ground beef 80/20 since the grandsons were here, and we all loved it. Well, you just make my heart sing with joy hearing that people liked it, because that's the whole point, is to get you making great tasting meals for you and your family. Again, get our cookbook at chefmarshallobrien.com. That book's going to give you a lot of options to make great tasting meals, and I want you to get that into your life. So definitely check that out. We have an e-version of it as well if you want to just have it on your phone or your tablet or whatever, so you can get that immediate download. Grab that while you're at it. All right, well, this is done, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to have to taste it. But you know what? I want to thank you so much for taking your time tonight to cook with me, and I hope that you and your family or whoever is with you tonight enjoys tonight's dish. I know that you are going to love it. Make sure that you connect with us on Facebook at Chef Marshall O'Brien and on Instagram at Chef Marshall O'Brien. So definitely make sure you keep following us. And if you are watching right now and you are saying, "Hey, I want to be a part of this," you can go to chefmarshallshow.com and sign up to get the recipes and shopping lists in advance, and be notified. For example, we've just finished our 6-episode pilot. Well, we're going to continue on. The feedback's been positive. People are loving it. People are writing in. They're sharing their comments. They're giving us pictures of what they're making, and so that just makes my day. And more importantly, we can continue to make your day and help you get an awesome meal on the table. So we're going to continue. And so sign up so that you can be notified when the next episode will be. Going to take a break for Thanksgiving next week, but then we'll be back for, I believe we're going to do 3 episodes in December. Then we'll take a break for the Christmas holiday, and then we'll be rocking and rolling in January, where a little mini theme is going to be all about a new year, a new you, and we're going to give you strategies along with this awesome format and great tasting recipes on how to make a crazy world just a better crazy world for you moving forward. So it's going to be super good. Now, while you are enjoying your dinner tonight with your family, I'm going to enjoy dinner with my Chef Marshall Show family. I'm going to serve them up. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a wonderful evening.